Okay, this is Andrew. This is CS330 Project 2, the Sniffer lab. I'm going to go over the lab with you quickly. As always, this document alone doesn't really describe the lab. What you need to do is look at this video, the document, and the rubrics. Don't forget the rubrics. This is right out of the rubrics, so I'm not going to read it to you. But the gist of it is that you're going to look at four protocols, and you're going to capture the packets using Wireshark, and then you're going to explain, and in the explanation of what you're seeing, you're going to include the content of each relevant field, a description of the use of the field, and a specific meaning of the data in the field. Alright, so this also is right out of the rubrics. You can read that. That's the standard. Okay, so here's the, you're going to build a network of 3 switches, and then you're going to monitor the 4 protocols below: STP, VTP, CDP, and ICMP. So you should know STP and VTP to some extent by now. And, you know, the amount you're going to have to know to get through this project is not going to be too much. But CDP is, you don't need to learn a whole lot about that. That's Cisco Discovery Protocol, and it's sent. Cisco devices send messages to each other at layer 2, and through this information you can determine, it passes a lot of information about the equipment, like what type of switch it is, all that. You'll see that as you get into it. And then we're just going to look at the pings. Okay, so this is basically the network you want to build. I highly suggest you build this into GNS3. So you're going to have 3 switches like this, and you remember now, if you follow the rules that STP uses, it's going to pick one switch as a root switch. So yours may not look like this. Whatever switch has 2 designated ports is the root switch, which is kind of confusing because you think, somehow you just think if it has a root port, then it's a root switch. No, because the root port goes to the root switch, right? This switch 1 is the root switch in this picture. Okay, so you need to determine which one won the nomination for the root switch in your network. It's, only 1 out of 3 chance it's going to be this one. And then you need to determine which ports are the designated ports coming off of the root switch, and then you need to determine which port is non-designated or blocking, and then ports. Okay, so technically, if I'm on this PC now, and I ping over to this PC, you would suspect that the ping would go like that. It wouldn't use this path, correct? So if you put Wireshark here, so if I ping from this computer to this computer, and you put Wireshark here, what are you going to see? Well, that's what you want to do. You want to do experiments like that. So basically, when you're testing ping, you're going to ping. You don't have to ping both machines from every machine, but do more than one ping. Like ping this one to this one and ping this one to this one or something. At least 2 of them. Okay, and then monitor on the different ports. Where you're seeing the ping, where you're not. If you are, do you see the ping here? See what you see and report what you see, and then include all the information about it. Okay, so a little more detail. You might also want to do, so when you first do your spanning tree, just kind of runs automatically by itself in the background, but you have a lot. You can even set which switch is the root switch, but you're not required to do that in this lab. Basically, if you go on to all 3 of these switches, type show spanning tree, one of them is going to say this bridge is the root, right? So then that's the root one. And it's going to tell you, he's going to tell you where his ports are, designated. That's this one. Just like on the previous video we saw, the root switch has 2 designated. So then look on the other one, do show spanning tree, see which one has blocking and which one has designated. Alright, so you should be able, just using this command alone, you should be able to draw this picture of your network. Now remember, you're going to have IP addresses on these machines, and I showed you how to do that in one of the videos, so go ahead and do that. And then you should be able to draw this picture, right? Now, that's the thing. If one of these is blocked, are you seeing BPDUs going on that link if this is blocked? So that's something I want you to find out, right? Is what links you probably want to check all 6 ports for the BPDUs, right? See what you can find, and then and this tells you everything right here. So use Wireshark to monitor all of those ports and report on what you find. Okay, great. So that should be simple enough. Then you want to go to VTP. So for VTP, now don't get confused with, this might be the root switch for STP, but you can have a server, VTP server could be this one or this one or this one. It doesn't have to be the root switch. The VTP server is whichever one you choose, right? And that's what you're going to do. If you go in here and do show VTP status, you're going to see the information about VTP on this switch. And what you really need to set is like a domain name and operating mode. And then you're also going to have to add 2 VLANs, VLAN 10 and 20. Now, the switch module in the GNS3, you can Google that if you like, but the commands are the old commands. They're not the commands you're going to see if you Google how to add a VLAN to a switch. It's not going to be exactly the same as what's likely to pop up now. So watch my video, or you could probably Google, the old VLAN assignment to a switch or something like that. So what you have to do is you'll have to assign 2 VLANs to this switch, and then what's going to happen, let's go back to this picture. What's going to happen is, let's say this is my server switch and these are my client switches for VTP, and let's say this port is blocked. So what's going to happen, what VLAN trunking protocol VTP does is I've put 2 VLANs on this switch. We did that, VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. So it's going to write those down to the other switches. It's going to write VLAN 10 and 20 to this switch and VLAN 10 and 20 to this switch, but only if they're in client mode, not transparent mode. So make sure these 2 are in client mode. And then when you write them here, you're going to see them propagate down here. So if this port's blocked, are you going to see the VTP right in across this link? That's another thing you want to see, right? So again, monitor all of these ports and say at least monitor, well, you should monitor all 6 ports and say what you're seeing on these ports, okay? So basically that's all you're doing with VTP, is you're going to have to sign a server and a client, 1 server and 2 clients. You're going to have to add the VLANs, which I'll show you how to do in a video, or you can Google it, but remember it's the old instruction set. And then just monitor it with Wireshark and verify in 2 ways. That you can also look at what VLANs are on the machine as well on the Cisco commands, and use Wireshark to see what's being written down. Now, that ought to take you through, let's see, that should take you through operating mode, domain name. Yeah, that should get you through VTP. Then you just want to do CDP and ping, and CDP is just do a show CDP neighbors. Just be on one machine and then do a show on one switch and do a show CDP neighbors, and then the other 2 switches are going to come back and tell you what they are. Now here's an interesting thing that I want you to discover. Okay, Sorry. Doing this left-handed. Okay. Now, show CDP neighbors only does a neighbor, right? So if this link is not here, if we just unplug this link right here, show CDP, if I did show CDP neighbors on this machine, it would report back all the information from this machine. It would tell you what kind of switch it is, iOS, all kinds of various information. Alright, but this link is not here, so this is not really a neighbor. He's one hop away, so not really a hop, but one away. So now let's put this link in, and I do show CDP neighbors. Well, it's going to say, tell me information about you, tell me information about you, and they're going to get the information back from both machines. But now, if STP is blocking one of these, what's going to happen is this CDP neighbors information going to come back? That's what I want to know, okay? So you'll do show C. So don't do it on your STP root switch, okay? So if you do show CDP neighbors on your root switch, then what's going to happen is this port would be blocked, let's say, and these are both neighbors, so you're going to get it back. You want to do it through your blocked port because you want to see if it tells you the information through the CDP information through the blocked port or not. Okay, so you can do it on two switches if you like. That's fine. Do it on the root switch and then do it on the switch that has the blocked port. Okay, so that's important information. Do it on the switch that has a blocked port. That's what I'm expecting to see in your work. Okay, so then just do a write-up. Includes all the detail about your work. Attach all the screenshots. Email me your GNS file, your GNS3 file. All the screenshot of Cisco commands and Wireshark captures, and then explain the different layers of protocols. Which layer each protocol is in, different layers. CDP and ping. How can you use these tools in troubleshooting networks? Okay, so I think that covers the assignment pretty well. Don't get too confused on it. I realize maybe it could be confusing. It seems kind of simple, but it could be confusing. You just got to keep your STP separate from your VTP. Your STP has its own root switch, and then the VTP has its own server and client, where the server is the one passing down all the information. Okay, so good luck on that and have fun. It should be a fun project, and thanks a lot.